Hello guys, once again it's Matt, and today we are flying out the F-14 a little bit more, so let's get into it guys. So today I wanted to talk about the F-14D. As you know, the F-14D is an aircraft that we might see it very soon in the game, but you know, the idea is that a lot of people don't know about this, about the F-14, is that it's very similar to the F-14B that we have in the game. Yes, in real life, of course, the changes were big enough, so that they even call it the Super TOMCAT, but in the game it would basically have the same performance, right? The main difference would be on the weapon systems, right? So having the APG-71 radar, which is much better than the AUG-9, so yeah, it would help detecting targets and shooting targets. But at the end of the day, that would be it, you know. Of course, it has an IRST that helps as well, depending on the situation, a new cockpit. So there are little things here and there, but in general, the main difference is the radar. The engine, the performance would be pretty much the same. So to be honest, with that, like we almost don't have a reason why this aircraft should be added. Almost. I guess, the main thing would be that they probably would add a higher BR, like a 0.3 BR higher, or maybe more differences to it, like maybe even the AIM-9M, so they could, I don't know, maybe add the AIM-9M to it and be a 12.3 on the same level as an F-15A. That would make sense, right? And then of course there is the question, the AIM-120, right? The APG-71 was tested to shoot the AIM-120. They tested in the F-14D the ability to carry them missile and shoot them in air targets, right? But the thing is that it isn't really like realistic, but at the same time it is to expect this AIM-120. The thing is that there isn't too big of a difference for the D variant to actually be added without something there, right? So, for example, like normally Gaijin doesn't like to add literally the same thing after you just research another thing, and the community doesn't like that actually, right? And that means that they will try to add something to differentiate this aircraft, and more than just a radar. Again, as I said, the AIM-9M could be that, but maybe adding the AIM-120 to it, since it tested the missile, could be a thing. And Gaijin does like these little things. I don't even doubt that they added like an event vehicle with the AIM-120 because it was only tested as kind of a prototype kind of thing, right? So yeah, that would be the main difference, the AIM-9M, and if they want to, the AIM-120 in the weapon systems or in the missiles that it uses, right? But the thing is that, should we see that thing before we see an F-18? Because I gotta be honest, the F-18 is a little bit overdue. Just like I think there are some other Russian aircraft that are overdue a little bit as well. I always talk about the Sukhois, like the Su-15, and some other interceptors like that. Maybe even some other versions of fighters that we already have. But the thing is that the F-18 really is something that could really bring a different type of gameplay to the game, you know, because it is, well, one of those aircraft that is kind of, if you really kind of like close your eyes a little bit, it's kind of the evolution of something like the F5, isn't it? And that could bring some different things to the game. The good part about the F-14 is that I don't think the US really needs too much right now. You know, it's problematic. I don't think the US has anything that it's on par with the Su-27, but at the same time they have a lot of options of amazing aircraft. So it's kind of weird, isn't it? It's a country that it has everything, but on the particular side of things of BVR, it kind of lacks. And that would mean that the F-14D could actually bring something there to the table, while the F-18 wouldn't bring anything on that side, because it would be basically the same line of thinking as other aircraft. Unless, of course, they add it as the Fox 3 launcher, which we will probably see it, because we are having these missiles in the next patch, right? So then the problem would be fixed, and we wouldn't need another aircraft to fire Fox 3 missiles or BVR missiles anyway, because we would see an F-16C, for example, firing, right? So it's kind of a weird situation that US is in. But there is a factor of other nations, like Finland. You know, Finland could actually take the F-18, and it's always good to have different aircraft like that in attack tree, even if it doesn't need anything, even with the Gripen there, it would be cool to see that aircraft there. So there is like reasons to have the F-14D being the next step up, but reasons as well to have the F-18 be the step up from the aircraft that the Navy line has in the US, as well as adding to other nations, right? So what is my opinion? Well, I guess I would love to see both. The thing is that, I mean, we always want every single aircraft to be added. You know, there's no such thing as not wanting an aircraft for me. I really want every single one of them. But of course we need balance. And as I said, the US kind of needs stuff, but it doesn't at the same time. It just depends on the type of aircraft that you look into. So I think at the end of the day, if the Fox 3s are added, I would much rather see something like the F-18 first, just because we can have a better and more realistic Fox 3 launcher, right? Because as I said, the F-14 would be basically just like kind of a test for the Navy there, and they really just put it into the F-18, the MO-20s. So it would make a lot more sense and be more realistic. And then add maybe the F-14D without the MO-20s as an event vehicle with just the normal Raider, or a premium, or even a tech tree vehicle under the F-14B in a bracket, so that it's a little bit easier to actually grind it out, right, or something like that. That would be, I think, my honest idea behind it. But the philosophy that if I would choose the aircraft that are being added, or the vehicles in general, I would choose the philosophy of aircraft that are the most produced ones, the ones that actually use these missiles and stuff. Of course, there are situations that you are forced to just avoid that, but in general, in this case, for the US, it's one of the countries that at least have to deal with that problem of not having options to be added, right? So it's kind of a non-problem for the US. I just think that, yes, the US has one problem right now, which is, as I said, the BVR, but that thing will be fixed when the Fox 3s are added in the next patch. Because no matter what aircraft they add after that, all the versions that you will see will have the ability to carry these missiles. Beginning with, of course, the F-16 having that. But if they add an F-15C, it will have that. If they have the F-14D, it can technically receive that missile. If they receive an F-18, maybe not the first one, but eventually the C variants onwards will have MO-20s anyway, right? So it's, even the A, I think there are upgrades to it to actually use the MO-20, right? So it's kind of a non-problem, and at the same time it's funny. So I don't know, it's a weird option that they would have. But anyway, let me know in the comments what would you like to see earlier in the game, an F-14D or an F-18, which is the best for the game, for balance, for trying to bridge gaps that the US might have in the BVR. Let me know in the comments. I see you guys on the next one. Make sure to subscribe.